Yo, let me drop this on you straight, no filter, because the streets are still talking about this one, even 3 years later. Picture this, a rapper, one of the biggest, Kendrick Lamar, he's not just dropping a track, he's dropping a whole visual bomb that cuts deep into the culture. It was his 5th installment of the Heart Part series. And if you saw the video, you know it wasn't some regular rap visual. Nah, this thing was next level, a real mind game, thanks to some crazy tech called Deep Voodoo. The same crew that brings that raw, satirical fire from the South Park creators. They're playing with deepfakes, right? But it wasn't just for shock value. Kendrick was out here giving perspectives, talking about the Black experience, the good, the bad, and the seriously ugly, pulling no punches, laying it all out bare. The honesty was so intense it felt like a confession. But it wasn't his alone. He was speaking for a whole kaleidoscope of figures who've been chewed up and spat out by the public eye.
By the way, welcome to Celebrity Hip Hop Showroom, where hip hop and celebrity drama never sleep. So hit that subscribe button so you never miss the mess. Let's get into it.
He wasn't picking choir boys, you feel me? The faces he chose to morph into, they were heavyweights, but they were also lightning rods for controversy. You had Kobe Bryant, a legend gone too soon, but whose life had its own dark chapters. You had Kanye West, the musical genius who seemed to be losing his mind right in front of the world, a spectacle of brilliance and breakdown. And then there was O.J. Simpson, the name that still makes people stop talking in a room, the guy who walked free but was never truly free from the shadow of the glove. These were polarizing figures, the kind the media loves to dissect and destroy, the kind that hold up a mirror to the contradictions in our own community. But then, smack in the middle of all that drama, one face pops up that felt like a fresh wound, a different kind of scar on the cultural landscape, Jussie Smollett. Now, we all know the deal with Jussie, the Empire star who became the center of a storm that wouldn't quit. Just a few months before this deepfake video hit the internet in May 2022, the dude was found guilty on 5 of 6 counts of disorderly conduct. It was the aftermath of that whole infamous mess back in February 2019, the one where he claimed he was jumped in a Chicago street by masked attackers slinging racist and homophobic slurs, shouting, "This is MAGA country." The story, the drama, the shocking details, it grabbed the whole nation, a rallying cry for justice, until it all started to unravel. The official word came down hard. He'd staged the whole damn thing. The arrest, the fallout, the betrayal that so many in the community felt, it was a heavy moment. Then came the financial hit, too. A few months after his initial claims, the city of Chicago was coming for him, suing him for a whopping $130,000 to cover the police overtime and resources spent on what they called a hoax. He was accused of filing a false police report, and that accusation, man, it hung in the air like smoke after a blast, leaving everyone wondering what was real and what was a performance. So, when Kendrick's face suddenly morphed into Jussie Smollett's, right there in that powerful video, the collective gasp was loud enough to hear miles away. People celebrated the move. Yeah, because Kendrick was putting a spotlight on all the mess, all the complex truths we try to avoid. But the underlying question, the one that lingered, was what was the intent? Was it a call-out? Was it judgment? Was it just showing another side of the Black experience, the one where fame and drama intersect in the worst possible way? Most people figured Smollett would be hot under the collar, ready to shoot back, but the man himself, he stepped out recently and flipped the whole script. He sat down for an interview with Cam Newton, the ex-NFL quarterback, and the moment was heavy. Cam, he didn't waste any time. He went straight for the jugular, asking the question everyone wanted the answer to. Do you hate Kendrick for the deepfake? And Jussie, cool as you like, didn't flinch. His response was the ultimate curveball, the one nobody saw coming. I love Kendrick Lamar, he stated, his voice steady. What I got an issue with him for? The answer was so simple, so direct, it cut through years of noise and speculation. He went on to explain the street logic of it all. I don't know Lamar, so it's kind of like what would be the reason for me to have an issue with him, because he don't know me either. It's the kind of logic that makes sense if you're trying to keep your circle tight and your energy clean, a real live and let live mentality, but applied to a global superstar's high-stakes artistic statement. Cam, he tried to push back, though, doing his job, playing devil's advocate. He suggested that Kendrick, as an artist, as a voice, must know the situation, must have an opinion on the whole Chicago saga. But Jussie just shrugged it off, essentially saying, so what? That's fine. I don't know what Kendrick meant by the video. So, I respect him as an artist, and that's about as far as it can go. It was a masterclass in dismissal, a powerful way of saying, your art is your business, my life is mine, and the two don't have to clash. He wasn't giving it any more airtime than it deserved in his world. To hammer the point home and add a little unexpected humor to the heavy conversation, he joked about not dropping a diss track, confirming there was no beef brewing, no secret studio session planning his lyrical revenge. That outside noise, the deepfake, the jokes, the endless speculation about his arrest? He said that stuff was the least of my concerns. Think about that for a second. The least of his concerns. It makes you wonder what the most of his concerns must be. What battles he's fighting behind closed doors that make the judgment of a deepfake video feel like a mosquito bite. That single line right there gave the audience a glimpse into a private struggle far bigger than the public scandal. But that wasn't the end of the story, because with Jussie Smollett, there's always a new layer of drama, a fresh twist in the narrative that keeps the whole thing alive. He had to close the loop on the money issue, the one that was still hanging over his head like a dark cloud. Remember that $130,000 the city was after? Well, things finally came to a head in May of that year, and the news broke. The city of Chicago and Smollett had reached a settlement. The details were kept tight, but the public knew the case was done. The legal back and forth was finally silenced. And what did Jussie do next? He went on the offensive, not with anger, but with action. He reportedly made a donation to 2 foundations in the Chicago area. It was a move that looked like a quiet victory, a way to put his money where his mouth was. But not in the way the city wanted. He didn't just walk away. He took a parting shot at the officials, accusing them of trying to back him into a corner, to force a confession. His final word on the matter, the one that summed up his entire stance against the city's demands, was ice cold and clear. They wanted my money and an admission. They've gotten neither. A powerful statement of defiance that showed he was not only done with the drama, but that he was still standing on his version of the truth, regardless of the court's decision or the public's perception. The conversation with Cam Newton was more than just a quick interview. It was a rare moment where Jussie Smollett took the power back, turning a celebrity beef question into a lesson in self-preservation and the art of letting certain battles die a quiet death. He stepped out of the shadow of the deepfake and reminded everyone that the man in the video, the one everyone had an opinion on, was still in control of his own narrative, no matter how many times a rapper or a city official tried to frame it for him. The drama might fade, but the question of who gets to tell the story and what happens when you decide to tell your own, that's the part that sticks with you long after the cameras turn off. He walked away from the screen, leaving the audience with the unsettling feeling that they never truly knew the full picture. And that maybe, just maybe, the official story was just one side of a much uglier, more complicated truth. The silence he left behind spoke louder than any diss track ever could, a chilling end to a moment that had captivated the world, proving that sometimes, the only way to win is to simply refuse to play the game they set up for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.